Picture this. You're a high school kid standing on a baseball field when out of nowhere, a bat slips from a teammate's hands and slams into your face. Your nose crumples into a U-shape, your skull fractures in multiple places, and your eye sockets shatter. You're rushed to the hospital, slipping in and out of consciousness, eventually landing in a coma with machines breathing for you. That's the nightmare James Clear lived through as a teenager. But instead of letting that moment break him, he turned to something unexpected, small habits, to rebuild his life step by step until he became a thriving writer, speaker, and thinker. His journey inspired a book that's all about how tiny changes can lead to remarkable results, and it's packed with ideas so practical and powerful, they might just change your life too. So, what's an atomic habit? It's a small, everyday action that seems almost too simple to matter, like flossing one tooth or doing 2 push-ups. But here's the kicker. When you stick with these tiny moves day after day, they stack up into something massive. Imagine improving by just 1% every day. Doesn't sound like much, right? But over a year, that 1% compounds into results that are 37 times better than where you started. That's not a guess, it's math. Now flip it. If you get 1% worse each day, you'll crash down to nearly nothing by year's end. Small choices, repeated over time, shape everything. Take the British cycling team as proof. Back in 2003, they were a laughingstock. For almost a century, they'd barely won anything. No Olympic golds, no Tour de France titles. Then Dave Brailsford stepped in as performance director with a wild idea. What if they improved every little detail by just 1%? They tweaked bike seats for comfort, rubbed alcohol on tires for grip, even hunted down the perfect pillow for better sleep. Sounds trivial, doesn't it? But within 5 years, they were dominating the Beijing Olympics, snagging 60% of the gold medals. By 2012, they set world records, and soon after, they started winning the Tour de France like it was no big deal. All from tiny shifts that snowballed into a revolution. Here's the thing, we often think big wins need big moves. We chase dramatic moments, a crash diet, a huge promotion, a grand resolution, but those fade fast. What lasts is the system behind it. Think about writing a book. You could set a goal to finish it, but if you don't have a daily habit, like writing 500 words every morning, you're just dreaming. Goals point you in a direction, sure, but systems get you there. Ever notice how every Olympian wants gold, yet only a few win? It's not the goal that sets them apart, it's the daily grind they commit to. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. Now, how do you build a system that sticks? There's a framework for that, built on 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. These aren't just catchy phrases, they are rooted in how our brains work, and they come with stories and tricks that make them impossible to forget. Let's dive into the first one, make it obvious. Ever walk into a room and forget why you're there? That's your brain on autopilot, running habits without you even noticing. Most of what we do each day, brushing our teeth, checking our phones, happens because of cues we don't even see. In Tokyo, subway workers use a trick called pointing and calling to snap out of that haze. Before a train moves, they point at things like the tracks or signals and shout what they see, track clear, or signal green. It's so simple it's almost silly, but it's cut accidents way down by making the invisible obvious. You can do this too. Start by jotting down everything you do in a day, call it a habit scorecard. Wake up, scroll Instagram, grab coffee, whatever. Label each one good, bad, or neutral. Suddenly, you're aware of what's running your life. Want to kickstart a new habit? Tie it to something you already do. After pouring your morning coffee, meditate for 1 minute. After brushing your teeth, do 3 squats. This is habit stacking, linking a new action to an old cue so it's impossible to miss. Or get specific with an implementation intention. I'll run for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in the park. Studies show people who plan like this are way more likely to follow through. Why? Because vague intentions like, "I'll exercise more," leave room for excuses, but a clear cue locks you in. Our brains love patterns, and once the cue's obvious, the habit's halfway done. But what about bad habits? Hide the cues. If you can't stop snacking, move the cookies to the back of the pantry, or better yet, don't buy them. In Vietnam during the war, tons of soldiers got hooked on heroin. Back home, experts braced for a crisis, but something weird happened. 90% of them quit cold turkey. Why? The battlefield's drug cues, stress, buddies, easy access, vanished stateside. Your environment shapes you more than you think. So, make good cues loud and bad ones silent. Next up, make it attractive. Ever notice how hard it is to resist a fresh-baked cookie or a buzzing phone? That's dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical, spiking before you even take a bite or read a text. It's not the reward itself, it's the craving that hooks you. Companies know this. They engineer chips with that perfect crunch or social media with random likes to keep you coming back. You can hijack this trick for good habits. Pair something you need to do with something you love, call it temptation bundling. One guy only let himself watch Netflix while pedaling a stationary bike. Suddenly, exercise wasn't a chore, it was a treat. Your crowd matters too. We're wired to mimic the people around us, the close, the many, the powerful. Hang out with fit friends and you'll start hitting the gym. Grow up in a family obsessed with chess, like the Polgar sisters, who all became grandmasters, and it's normal to play every day. A guy named Mike quit smoking after moving to a new city with healthier norms. He didn't fight willpower, he just joined a tribe where puffing wasn't cool. Want to make a habit stick? Surround yourself with people who make it feel natural. Here's a twist. Reframe the habit. Instead of "I have to jog," tell yourself, "I get to feel strong." A cancer patient named Ed turned his grueling chemo into a hiking adventure, imagining each step as a climb up a mountain. It didn't erase the pain, but it made it bearable. Our cravings come from deeper motives, connection, energy, freedom. Tap into those, and the habit stops feeling like work. Now, the third law, make it easy. Humans are lazy, it's science. We follow the law of least effort, picking the path that takes the least energy. Ever wonder why you binge Netflix instead of writing that report? One's a click away, the other's a slog. So make good habits effortless. The 2-minute rule says start with something so simple it takes less than 2 minutes, like read one page instead of read a book. It's not about the time, it's about starting. Once you're in, you often keep going. Your space helps too. Want to cook more? Keep pots on the counter, not in a cabinet. Want to work out? Lay out your gear the night before. At a hospital cafeteria, they moved water bottles to eye level and soda to the bottom shelf. Water sales shot up 25%. Small tweaks, big wins. In Japan, a factory slashed errors by rearranging tools so workers didn't have to hunt for them. Less friction, more flow. For bad habits, add friction. Victor Hugo locked his clothes away to force himself to write. No escape, just progress. Here's a pro move, automate it. Buy a water filter so drinking clean water's a no-brainer. Set up auto bill pay so savings automatic. One guy rigged his alarm clock to trigger the coffee maker, waking up got way easier. One-time choices like these lock in good habits for years. The easier it is, the more you'll do it. Finally, make it satisfying. We're wired for instant gratification. If a habit feels good right away, we'll repeat it. In Pakistan, a soap company made hand-washing a hit by adding a fresh scent and a silky lather. Sales soared because it felt nice. Toothpaste wasn't always minty, but once they added that tingle, brushing took off. The catch? Good habits often pay off later, while bad ones feel great now. That's why smoking's tough to quit. It's a quick hit. Here's the fix. Track it. Mark an X on a calendar every time you hit the gym. Seeing that chain grow feels awesome. Jerry Seinfeld used this to write jokes daily. Studies show people who track their food lose twice as much weight. Why? Progress is addicting, or add a reward like a bubble bath after a workout. Just don't sabotage the habit. Chocolate after running might not help. For bad habits, flip it. Make them sting. Brian Harris bet his wife and trainer he'd stick to a diet, $500 on the line if he failed. He lost 18 pounds, no slip-ups. A habit contract like that adds teeth. Even laws work this way. Seat belts weren't common until fines kicked in. Instant pain beats long-term regret every time. Now, let's get advanced. Identity's the secret sauce. Habits aren't just actions, they're who you are. Want to read more? Don't say, "I'll read a book." Say, "I'm a reader." A guy named Brian stopped biting his nails after a manicure made him proud of his hands. It wasn't willpower, it was seeing himself differently. Every habit's a vote for the person you want to be. Start small, stack wins, and watch your identity shift. The Goldilocks rule keeps you going. Ever play a game too easy or too hard? Boring either way. But one that's just right, like a tight tennis match, hooks you. Habits work the same. Aim for a stretch that's 4% beyond your comfort zone. Too simple, you snooze. Too tough, you quit. Elite marathoner Eliud Kipchoge logs every run, tweaking just enough to stay challenged. Flow kicks in and you're locked, but habits can trap you. The Lakers dominated the NBA with a system called career best effort, tracking every player's stats to push tiny gains. It worked until it didn't. They had to review and tweak it yearly to stay sharp. Without reflection, you're a robot on repeat. Chris Rock tests new jokes in small clubs, cutting what flops. Katie Ledecky's coach reviews her swims to shave seconds. Annual check-ins, like what's working, what's not, keep you flexible. So what's the big takeaway? Small changes done consistently beat big dreams every time. You don't need a miracle, just a system. Stack those 1% wins, make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, and you'll surprise yourself. Want to start? Pick one tiny habit today, floss one tooth, write one sentence. Stick with it. As James Clear says, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Time's your ally if you let it be.